A writer's visual description inspires artistic creation as the costume designer transforms sketches into reality, and the costumer implements those designs to actors who become that character on film. Learn what it takes to bring these costumes to life. It all starts now on Below the Line.
Below the Line with George Peroulas. Tonight's guests are
From belts and brooches to suits and skirts, my first guest keeps track of the actor's wardrobe all day long. Please welcome costumer Ginger Knussman. How are you? Welcome. It's great to see you. You have been busy these past couple of years doing all sorts of things and the movies and all that, but you didn't start off doing movies. You started off doing photography, right?
Right. I started off doing still photography, and I did that for several years until I met someone who worked on commercials. And they introduced me to a wardrobe stylist who I started to assist on commercials. And it just continued to grow and snowball until I started doing wardrobe styling for commercials. And then when Talladega Nights came to town, I really wanted to work on a movie. So I was fortunate enough to get an opportunity to work on Talladega Nights as a costumer.
And that was your first big feature film, and it was a huge success,
Yes.
and it's still playing on TV. Tell me about that whole experience. Will Ferrell and all those funny guys.
It was a really fun experience. It was very exciting. It was all new to me, so I had a lot to learn, and fortunately had a great team to teach me. But it was a very fun and exciting film to work on. You know, it was a comedy, so everything was light, and it was quite enjoyable.
Now, you've worked on all sorts of movies. If you had to choose between a period film and a modern film, what do you prefer working with?
You know, I really enjoy working on both for different reasons. A period film is really neat because you really get to kind of embrace that era during those times, and it's so different. I worked on a film that was set in the 1860s, and the clothes are quite different than they are now. So it's really exciting to kind of see the transformation of people in a period film. You know, everyone in modern day times, you can kind of read a person and get an idea of who they are based on what they're wearing. But then on a period film, people kind of transform, and everyone sort of becomes this, magic wonderland it kind of displaces you and takes you to a time that you're not familiar with. So that's really fun. Modern films can be a little easier, but sometimes challenging. It's easier because people can bring their clothes and you can work with what they have, whereas on a period film, everyone goes through the whole process of a fitting, and the clothes are altered to fit them. So each of them is fun. I think I enjoy both.
Now, describe the main aspects of what you do during the day as a set costumer. Walk me through sunrise to sundown.
Okay. Sunrise usually is, a lot of times that's the time that we start, right before the sun rises. Or not, sometimes you shoot nights. But generally in the beginning of the day on a film set, the mornings can be quite hectic for costumes because you're preparing the clothes for the actors, setting their rooms with their costume changes, and just preparing for the whole day. Depending on how many scenes are shot in one day, it can, some days are easier, they'll have one costume change. Some days they could have as many as 5. So it can get hectic at times, but generally you just prep their clothes and set their rooms and get everyone ready for the first scene of the day. And then once that's established, if there's costume changes, you would go back and do that again. So it's a matter of like ironing and steaming and making sure that they're wearing the right thing based on the continuity. So it can be quite hectic in the morning.
Now, what kind of a temperament does a set costumer have to have? The personality has to be very focused and organized. What kind of a person does it take to do what you do?
It takes someone who is very quick on their feet, can problem solve quickly, and is also easygoing and easy to get along with. You're working quite closely with the actors and other departments, so you know, it just takes someone that has a good positive attitude and really loves what they're doing and is passionate about their job and gets along great with others.
And organized. How organized does someone have to be to keep up with all these costumes all day long?
It requires a great amount of organization. At any given time, you really need to know where clothes are, where they can be found. For example, earrings, you know, something that could be easily lost. So you really need to be organized and knowing that they're in the actor's line and you can go and find that whenever and wherever you need it, that it's always there. Everything sort of has a home. The shoes, you know, each actor has a closet where we keep all their clothes. So it's very important to stay organized because you just really, you know, at a moment's second change, you might need something, so you really need to know where it is.
And after those busy mornings of getting all the actors dressed, describe what you do the rest of the day with keeping up with the actors and all of that.
Okay. You know, you stay on set with the actors and you just make sure that they're staying neat and tidy and keeping up with their pieces. If it's a hot day and they have a coat and they want to take it off after you roll, you know, you would be there waiting for them to kind of take that from them. Or if they're wearing a hat, you might want to keep up with that because sometimes, you know, actors have a tendency to sit something down. So you always want to know where your items are so you can just be prepared when they're ready to roll. So it just is a matter of staying on set with them and, you know, making sure that your shirt is buttoned the same way it was earlier in the day, and then you know, just making sure that it's lint-free and crisp and clean, and just monitoring that as well as keeping up with continuity. If you're shooting something that you may have shot last week, you just want to make sure that everything matches and is consistent with how it was worn before.
And that's what you do when they call for last looks.
Mm-hmm.
Right before filming, they call for last looks. All the department heads check their department, whether it's hair, makeup, or wardrobe. And so you're checking for all these fine details to make sure everything is in its place for filming, right?
Exactly, yeah. Last looks are really important, just to make sure that everything looks good and is straight. You know, sometimes when we're sitting around, we might get a little disheveled, or, you know, our collar might flip up accidentally, or, you know, so you really want to kind of like take an overall look of make sure everything, the lines are clean and there's nothing spilt on your shirt, or, you know, just kind of manage that and make sure everyone looks good.
Now, let's talk about some of the actors and what you deal with them.
Mm-hmm.
When an actor is asked to bring their own clothes to the set, like some of the movies you worked on, like April Fool's Day, Dear John, or The Last Song, what are some good tips for actors to do when they're bringing their own clothes to you? What should they do and not do?
It's very helpful if actors come really prepared and bring a lot of options. Generally speaking, you know, you try to tell actors, you know, don't bring a lot of anything with logos or crazy patterns or loud colors, you know. Some directors don't like a lot of white or black because it creates a lot of contrast. And really to kind of come with their clothes on hangers and really crisp and clean, and, you know, it makes it a lot smoother if everything is kind of tidy, and it just makes it a lot easier if, you know, you're not pulling a shirt out of a duffel bag and it's wrinkled. You know, there's not enough time to do that for everyone. So just, I think, and also actors just being really aware of what looks good on them and being aware of their body shape and just knowing. I think that's one thing that people might struggle with, is just knowing what really looks nice on them. So just being really aware of themselves and wearing clothes that they feel really confident and comfortable in makes a big difference.
Very good. Coming up next, find out what the actor's responsibility is once they're dressed in costume. Stay with us.